But I think there are a lot of compromises that either of the sides have done. For instance, Iran had to go back from its nuclear bit, the highly enriched uranium, for which it took years and years to enrich, and not just to enrich, to deceivably enrich. When I use the word deceivably enrich, is if you go back to the JCPOA, and if you look at the time, back in 2016 is when JCPOA was signed, in 2015 or 2016. And at the time, it was MUE. It was not HUE. It was medium enriched uranium, MEU. At this point of time, we're talking about highly enriched uranium. So the grading is very difficult. It's very different. Iran, that means, had been doing something under the hand or was preparing for it. So to let go of something that it has been doing for years is not an easy pill to swallow, on the part of Iran at least, number one. Number two, what else has Iran lost? Iran has lost the illusion of supremacy. Yes, it has had the upper hand during these negotiations, but the illusion of supremacy, I think that has evaporated. What has the US lost? I mean, these are just two of the on the top of my head that the examples that are there. If you go into details, I'm sure there's much more to list that ways. What has the US lost? US too has lost the sense of supremacy. In a war, there is no such thing as you say as a moral victory. Either you win or either you lose. And for the US, which has portrayed itself as a victor in the wars, minus the Vietnam War, including the agreement to bring in peace in Afghanistan, it did find a way out and said that, well, we were here for this thing. We were there in Afghanistan to eradicate Al-Qaeda, not to bring back democracy. And we were out of it. So in this one, I think the US illusion of supremacy has been lost as well. Number one. Number two, the US hegemony in the region that was there, that is shattered. That myth of US hegemony is shattered. That myth of US being a security provider to the region, especially to the Gulf states, that's been shattered. Beyond the headlines, I think there is much more to for both the sides to introspect. But at this point of time, given that there's been so much war lethargy and war fatigue, and with the uncertainty that surrounded it, I think both the sides would want to beat about the bush with their victory, with their narrative of victory, which might not be in conjecture or in collusion with the reality on ground. I think it's a peace agreement. It's not a framework agreement. To dub it as a framework agreement, I think that would be a bit of a disingenuous on our part as journalists as well. For the very fact that it took months for this to come through. It took months for the parties to come to. It took years for the parties to come together. 47 years of animosity. So 47 years is not a small time period. What Islamabad had been doing was the unthinkable. Islamabad had its moment to shine. 55 years ago, Islamabad did the then unthinkable or impossible at the time it was made possible when the US-China rapprochement was done. And now you got 55 years later, you've got this moment to shine for Islamabad again, where it is literally brokering world peace. So I think it is a peace agreement in its actual form. It's not a framework of arrangement which stalls or puts the key issues at the back burner. It just gives them leverage. For Iran, the nuclear issue might be important, but so is the issue of frozen assets as well. And the issue of frozen assets has been addressed in one way or the other. For Iran, the toll collection of the Strait of Hormuz was something that was a red line, but they had to let go of it. And they are restoring it back to pre-27th of February levels. So I think to call this as a framework of understanding would be a bit wrong. To give you a bit of context, when on the 10th and 11th of April, the talks were held here in Islamabad, the Islamabad talks as it was being dubbed, 21 hours of negotiations, as J.D. Vance said it. I think one interesting aspect of those talks were that one of the parties, the negotiations were going so good that one of the parties had actually asked their technical teams to literally pack their bags, pick it up from their hotel and move to the negotiating team hotel, like where the talks were being held. So it goes on to signify that how serious were the nature of those talks at the time. And if I take you back in time, if you go to President Trump's statement as well, he said that they really made friends with Bakr Kalibaf and Jerry Vance and Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. And again, to contextualize a bit, the technical committees already exist. The technical committees are there, they exist, and it's not that they have not been conversing. It is the technical committees that had been conversing through the heads or through those who mattered. The reason this mattered stalled, right? Every comma, full stop, exclamation or colon or semicolon for that matter, that had to be proofread. I mean, if not 100 times, then at least a couple of times. And with regards to the technical committee mechanism, there were 3 technical committees that were made during those negotiations on the 10th and 11th of April. One was legal, as the name has it. It dealt with sanctions. The other was economic, which was being led by the governor of the Central Bank of Tehran, Himati. I forgot his first name. And economic, as it's with regards to the assets freeze and so on and so forth. And the third was political. The political committee was looking into the highly enriched uranium, missiles, grid, and so on and so forth. So for the committees to convene and converge would not be a bigger problem. But for the committees to convene, converge, and come to a consensus, of course, that is an uphill task, but there is a ticking time bomb in a literal sense. There's a ticking time window. And the mediators here, which are Pakistan and Qatar, they will try their level best to ensure that the timeline is followed in letter and spirit. I was in China with the Prime Minister very recently, when the Prime Minister visited China just last month. There had been talks on that. Iran has signaled that it would not want its proxies to be a hindrance in the talks process. I think that is very clear. The onus here lies on the US side to ensure that there is a leash on the spoilers. And the spoilers, when I say, are very clear in this case, it's Israel, it's Pakistan's eastern neighbor, India, and there's another Gulf country, which I can't name. But that being said, so I mean, to keep those spoilers in check, that's an onus of responsibility. The onus of responsibility lies on the United States. And as Bakr Kalibaf said yesterday in his X statement, it is for the Americans to follow through on their commitment and not for the Iranians. So I think the proxies bit or the events surrounding Lebanon does really have immense potential to derail the talks. A 900-kilometer long border, shared history, shared civilization, culture, religion, people-to-people connect, that was with Iran. And a renewed commitment, a historical relationship that has been there, that has been very hunky-dory between the United States and Pakistan, but more renewed in the sense following the events of last year between Pakistan and India. And I mean, to quote The Hill, when the Pakistani Army Chief Field Marshal Saeed Asim Munir met President Trump for that lunch on the 19th of June last year. I mean, the comments President Trump made, he was actually left quite surprised. What puny little nation that thrashed India, something like that. So I mean, there is a personal rapport that is there, that has been built. And in diplomacy, trust is something that is utmost, that is supreme. And Pakistan's mediators, and Pakistan as a country, as a mediator, ensured that the basic sanctity of negotiations is not violated. If it's a post office or if it's a mediator, then it should remain that way. It should not be imposing any of its opinions or leaking it. And I think that is something that during the initial rounds, or even before the initial round began, because this process has been ongoing since at least the 12th of March. And it began when the Pakistani Prime Minister and Field Marshal Saeed Asim Munir, they visited Jeddah and met the Saudi Crown Prince. This is right after the war. This is before. Then in the aftermath of that, we saw meetings between Steve Witkoff and senior leadership here in Pakistan, well, Pakistani senior leadership, not in Pakistan, but with the Pakistani senior leadership. Then we saw IRGC delegations coming in and out. So, and this was all being done very, very quietly. None of it was being leaked. So, I mean, that was something that helped really build confidence between both the parties that yes, Pakistan is a trusted mediator or can be a trusted go-around or go-between. I mean, if you look at the news that has been surrounding for the past few days, the amount of leaks that have been coming in on the Qatari delegations, which might not be a representation of reality on the ground. In that context, Islamabad, by virtue of keeping quiet or keeping its mouth shut and ensuring that its mouth remains shut, is something that made its ultimate choice for mediation for both the parties. It depends. It would be dependent upon how the economic situation pans out. Because this can be seen as a one-off event, but again, it should be seen in context of, because had May 2025 not happened, and the lunch one would have not happened, and then this and that, so or the other. But I think it's the economy that keeps the hook there. But if there's one thing that Pakistan has made it very clear, is that it is actually a middle power, and not a power in the middle. It is a middle power, and it is a trusted middle power. It has the capacity, it has the capability, it has the will to execute such high stakes diplomacy, regardless of the parties, confined to its neighborhood or beyond that. So yeah.